Hey guys, Toxic here with some more Rage Hammer. With me, like always, in Rage Hammer is Savage. And as we always say at the start of Rage Hammer, this is a show on Allies Index that is a little bit different to any show that we do. We say and do things that may not be appropriate for some, but watch it if you wish. It is all entertainment purposes for the most part, and an outlet to get our our rage out and our feelings and thoughts on the hobby in general. So that's our little warning this time, and we'll be done with that. But yes, starting today. What's up? What's up with you?
What's up?
Yeah.
Not much. I have not really touched Death Company this week. Although I have started painting like a successor chapter to Iron Warriors.
Very
It's
nice.
just like fiddling around with the paint scheme for that. That's about it.
Yeah, I've just been working on my Grey Knights and contemplating again selling some more stuff. Because I started this year thinking like, oh man, it'd be so great, like, painting up multiple armies and, having different things to paint and whatnot. But my imperial self would say I am the Inquisition's bitch. Always has me going back to the Imperium armies and more importantly the Inquisition-based armies. And I really just want to spend my time doing that. It's what holds my interest the longest. And honestly, like, you could just do Inquisition-based armies and you'd have a variety to, like, paint, really. I mean, you got Grey Knights, you have the Inquisition Space Marine chapters like the Red Hunters, the Exorcists, you have Inquisitors themselves, Inquisitor Warbands, to an extent Militarum Tempestus, since they're basically stormtroopers, so you could just paint them up like inquisitorial stormtroopers. You can even use Astra Militarum in their Imperial Guard. Also, to an extent, Sisters of Battle, Ecclesiarchy, or however that's pronounced. Like, you got so much variety, and I just find that every now and then I look at people's collections and I just go, man, I wish I had like a huge collection of just like one army or a theme around one army. But like I just can't, like, nothing holds my attention long enough. But like I was talking to Seb, like, and this goes for you as well. Less of an extent for you because you actually do relatively collect the same army for the most part. But like, if I had collected one army since I first started playing this hobby, man, my collection would have been insane.
Oh yeah.
And then I look at what I have now, I'm like, this is really not too much stuff. I mean, it's a lot, but for someone that's been in the hobby for so long, it's not an awful lot. And it's because I get bored and I sell them and buy new stuff, and when you sell stuff, you don't get as much money as you put into it, so I'm always kind of losing out. Makes me a little bit sad. So I've been contemplating the idea of just being like, fuck it, only do, like, armies that are based around the Inquisition. That way, I can have a variety of stuff, but it also can be used in as one army in general. I mean, yeah, but I don't know.
Imagine your Space Wolves now. You had
Yeah.
so much for them.
I had a lot of them, yeah. I had a lot for a lot of armies, so.
Yeah.
Because I'll just be like, man, that's a huge army. Bored. Sell it. What can I get now? We'll go Blood Angels now. Bored. What can I go now? We'll go Grey Knights. Bored. I'll go Blood Angels again. It's terrible. But, it's not the topic for today. Although, I do remember that we did say that we would bring up the story about the kid pissing himself. So we have to do that at some point today.
I think we'll end on the...
Yeah, we have to remember that, though. What we are going to be doing today, though, is we do have a topic to discuss for Shame Hammer. Where we might get a little bit of our rage out. But we actually got something, guys, somewhat serious today. We're going to rank...
informative.
Yeah, we're going to rank our tier of Warhammer 40k armies. What's included in that is anything that is Codex, and then the name of the army. So, like, Codex, Space Marines, not something that's like Codex, Elder, Harlequins. Like that's more of a supplement. So the ones that we have are Adeptus Sororitas, Sisters of Battle, Astra Militarum, Imperial Guard, Blood Angels, Chaos Demons, Chaos Space Marines, Dark Angels, Dark Elder, Grey Knights, Imperial Knights, not a supplement, it is its own codex. Inquisition, also its own codex. Militarum Tempestus, its own codex. Necrons, Orcs, Space Marines, Space Wolves, Tau, and Tyranids. The rest is supplements, and we don't really give a shit if you agree or not, because this is our list. It's also our list, so you may not agree with how we rank these armies, but again, it's our fucking list, so we'll do it, and hopefully it'll be somewhat informative, and maybe get some ideas going, or help you out on how you look at armies, or if you're looking at getting a new army. I don't know. It's just gonna be fun to do. Thoughts before we go into this?
It'll be interesting to see how this goes up. I haven't played any of 7th edition yet. I still got to get around to that. So.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see there.
But you are familiar with the codexes, so...
Yes.
And, yeah. So, this is how we're going to rank it. We have 4 tiers. We have tier 1 is the top 3. Then we have tier 2 is the next 5. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 5, yep. Tier 3 is the next. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then tier 4 is the lowest tier, being 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. I don't know how a tier system works. Like, is tier 1 the best, or is tier 1 the worst? Like, maybe I'm going the wrong way, and like the higher number is the best tier, but it's like... To me, it's like tier 1, like your top tier.
Yeah, but tier 1 is the top 3. So we start at the bottom and work our way to the top. So we'll start at 18.
You reckon we're going to start at the bottom? We shouldn't start at the top?
Nah, that gives it away at the start.
I guess so. It's harder going from the bottom.
I know, but...
Okay, so... 18, the worst codex right now. Let's throw some ideas. Like, when you think of worst codex, what comes to mind initially? And we are doing this in a tier system, so like really it's not necessarily the worst, it's just in the lowest tier. So we have to have 5 armies out of the 18 in this lowest tier.
So are we grading this?
We're grading it on
like on the contents of the codex, or how it plays?
A bit of everything, I would say. So it has to be how, like, going from how beginner friendly it is to also how much you can cheese the fuck out of it.
Let me just look up a list of everything so I can check.
I would just go on the Games Workshop website, and it has the list down the side. I also added all of them on a notepad so I can kind of make some notes as we go. But so here's... I'm going to throw a few things out when I think of shit codex. I think of Orcs. I really do like Orcs, but I feel like they got the worst end of the 7th edition nerf stick. I've said this multiple times, Games Workshop is nerfing the fuck out of armies in 7th edition, purely so... 1, if they're not going to make a model out of it, then it's getting removed from your codex. That is going to happen. 2, I feel like they're trying to... just kind of decrease the power levels, I guess, of armies, stop the codex creep, and just kind of bring everyone down to an even playing field. So they're just kind of throwing out nerfs left and right. It's just the kind of what I've been getting from reading the new codexes, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, and they do agree. Orcs, I feel, got a real short end of the stick when they got their new codex. They got a lot of shit removed. Not much added. So, Orcs is definitely one of the ones I think is not great. I also think Adeptus, Sisters of Battle. Sisters of Battle, I also think they've been getting, just the short end of the stick, for forever now. And their codex, You can do a couple good things in it, and I'm not saying that it's all bad, but there's definitely not enough in there to make it top tier. Let's see, what else do we have? Inquisition is really not a codex that stands up on its own. It's great when you're using like Inquisitors and putting them in other armies, but if you're reading that thing and you're expecting to make a list out of just the Inquisition things, then it's gonna be a pretty shit army. It's gonna be Inquisitors and warbands. That's it. So that is definitely one of the ones that I would put down there. In fact, I would probably almost rank that the worst, purely because it has like shit all in there.
I'm gonna go with Imperial Knights.
Yeah, I don't know if I would put it in the bottom tier though.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, they're cool, but as far as content goes, you're buying a book for one model, essentially.
Yeah, but have you played Imperial Knight yet?
No, I haven't. I told you.
I've,
That's what I mean. Like, it's I have to pay $65 for the codex. I need to pay another $150 or whatever it is for the model, for one model
So you can play an army of super heavy walkers?
of one super heavy walker.
No, yeah, one model. Well, two different variants, but you get. First of all, there's more than two variants because you have the one with the melter cannon, the one with the battle cannon, and then you can also kind of upgrade them. So you have the chance of upgrading them to like a higher tier version. I believe it like increases its I believe it's a roll to do it, but it increases its invulnerable save, or it could get worse and decrease its invulnerable save. But yeah, you got like two variants to it basically. But the army itself, like judging not on the models that you have in it, it's just super heavy walkers. Like it's gonna stomp a ton of armies. I've played a list with one in it, I've played a list with two, and I've played a list with three as an allied force. But they kick
Yeah,
ass.
you
They
can't really
destroy.
play it by itself.
You can play it
Like,
by itself though.
You can, but there's no fun in it. You have
Eh.
like 3 models on the table.
Yeah, 3 models that are gonna destroy your opponent's army. I don't think it. Yeah, it's lacking model range, but the power of the list is not bad. The only weakness of that army is, well, 1 in its model count, 2 it lacks anti-air.
I'm not saying that they're like the rules for them are bad. I'm saying that should it really have been a full-fledged codex instead of like I don't know, White Dwarf release or something?
Don't do White Dwarf releases. That's shithouse. It should probably have just been like a data slate or something, but it is a codex, and we are ranking codexes. Do you really think that an army of super heavy walkers would be in the lower tier of, out of all those 18 armies, that would be in the bottom 5? Not
It would be, I don't know, because
It's either going to be tier 3 or tier 4. It's not getting any higher than that, but I don't know if it'll be in tier 4.
yeah,
Why don't
I'd
we
say
put that one aside, and we will either have it low tier 3 or high tier 4.
Yeah.
What's one that we can agree on at being the dead bottom?
What did you say before? The
Inquisition. I
yeah.
think that one is the worst in terms of the codex on its own. As an allied force, it kicks ass. Inquisitors in that codex are insane. They're super cheap. They give you good rules. They have access to awesome war gear. Some of the warbands and are insanely powerful. But you can't make a list on just one Inquisitor, a warband, and a bunch of transports. It's not gonna work. That's a shit list. That I think is dead bottom if you're gonna be making a list purely out of that codex, not taking in allied forces. Not even. We're not even looking at its. I don't know. Should we look at the ability to use the codex as an allied force, or are we just purely doing this on standalone by itself?
I would do standalone because you can make any army work as a allied force, really. Like as long as you ally it with the right thing.
Fair enough. So we'll lock in Inquisition at number 18.
Yep.
Hurts me to do it, but it's shit on its own.
I need to pull up my fucking.
Okay. 1 down, 17 more to go. Enjoy, people.
This may be a longer than normal. Alright.
So
So we got
17. I'm thinking Sisters of Battle, Orcs, or possibly even Militarum Tempestus.
I'm gonna go Sisters of Battle.
Any reason why? Or just because?
Because they didn't get jack shit.
Yeah, they didn't get
They
any.
didn't even get like upgrade to plastic.
No, they didn't get any new models. They didn't even get an upgrade to Finecast.
Yeah, nothing. They got absolutely dick all.
Well, let's look at it from a rules perspective, though. I'll throw
Never
in some
even seen
stuff
it.
here. Yeah, well, that's why I'm gonna try and throw in some information here, so we're not just basing this off their model range.
Well, like, I haven't even looked at the rules because of the fucking model range.
The rules, they're decent. Is definitely something that I mean you can play any army to a good extent, but we're trying to make in tiers here. Everyone in the list basically has a 6-up and vulnerable save, which is 6-up and vulnerable is still pretty shithouse, but I mean it's a free 6-up and vulnerable, so that's decent. On the other hand, there's only certain units that are worth shit in there. There's a lot of units that you're like, that I'm not gonna take that. Shit doesn't do anything. So you basically have to spam the good stuff in there. So the Exorcists, 3 of them, done. The regular Battle Sisters squads, you gotta get some bodies on the board, so they're basically the only good ones. The jetpack ones, Sephirim or whatever they're called, they're decent because they got 2 guns, so they can dual wield and get a decent amount of shots out. Dual hand flamers, that's pretty good. 2 templates a model. That's decent, but there's just not enough in there to make. They have good rules in there, but the rules that they have, like they have like these special rules you can, like Acts of Faith or whatever, so you can like activate special rules throughout the game. That's decent, and the rules in there are decent, but the models in there are kind of shithouse. So yeah, I could lock Sisters of Battle in at 17. Good special rules, but the core units themselves are just not enough to hold up to be a good army. Okay, so 3 more in this tier. I'm willing to agree that Imperial Knights should be in this tier. Low model count, lack of anti-flyer capability. They can do a shit ton of damage, but you come across one flyer, you're fucked, and some melter guns.
That's what I mean. Like, as far as like the models and the rules go, they're like insane. Like, I'm probably eventually gonna get one and do like a chaos one. But as far as like fucking having to fork out $65 for a codex for one model that has 2 different sets of rules. Like, it's cheaper than the other codexes, but it still should have been, like you said, like a data slate or something like that.
Yeah, I mean it's really not. It doesn't have any effect on what tier it is in, is whether it should be a codex or not. But yeah, I can agree there that. I mean, I actually no. I think a new army, a new codex. Yeah, more stuff is better. I mean, if you want to play that army, then yeah, you got to buy that codex, and you have the option to play that as your army. That's awesome. You have an option to play super heavy walkers as your army. That's cool. I like that. So I'm happy with the codex actually. It kind of sucks because you are paying for a codex for just like you said, one kit.
Yeah.
But you can have an army of super heavy walkers, so that's fucking awesome. So I still don't know 14, 15, or 16. I don't know where I should lock it in.
I would say 14 because it's still
14?
good. It's just lacking in like content.
I don't know. I'm changing my mind. I'm even thinking lower than that because they definitely are strong, but I think that I was using them as allies, and having 1, 2 to complement an army that is already balanced is amazing. And your opponent is just difficult to handle it. But an army on its own, I would probably put it down at 16. I think that's the next one where we go. Could you agree there?
I'll agree.
Okay. Let's lock that in. Okay, so 15, 14. We've got 2 more to finish off the tier 4. The lowest tier in... let me delete some of the ones that we've already used. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. So, I've thrown around orcs, and purely this, to me, that the orcs... The trucks got nerfed, they're way too vulnerable, they die too easy, a 10-man squad of boys. The truck's gonna blow up way too quickly. Once it's been blown up, you're then gonna lose even more orcs, and then they're not gonna be fearless, so they're probably just gonna run away. So basically your only hope when you're playing orcs is to have the green tide, the massive horde units. So you're taking out a tactic that's been used before, is just boys in trucks. Well, I think it's fucking useless now. Other units in there, bikers you can't be taken as troop anymore, which again doesn't really have too much say in 7th edition. You know, who gives a shit if you can't use it as troop? You just use it anyway.
Yeah.
It didn't get anything added to it except for that random walker thing. I got the codex right here, let me look it up. The only thing they added, they got rid of some of the special characters like Wazdacker and the stuff that didn't have models for it. And then they added in...
The Gorgonaut?
Yeah, the Gorgonaut, where is it here? Gorgonaut and the Morgonaut. They are unit type vehicles, so I don't even think they're super heavy vehicles. Now 5 hull points. They're just a fucking big point sink. 13, 13, 12. I guess they're kind of decent. The only thing I like about this codex now is that they added the Stomper in there. The Stomper is in the Orc Codex. It's a Lord of War, but it's fucking Stomper. So, I mean, that's cool. I like that, and I think that definitely does help if you can bring an Orc list in regular 40k with a Stomper. I just think that the old Codex was weak, and they changed it. They actually made some of the rules worse, and because like the old one that they had was like if they have 10 or more, they're fearless, and then like in a unit. And now the rule is, let me find it here. I mean, Codex itself is beautiful, but that doesn't help them at all. Yeah, mob rule. If every model in the unit has a special rule and the unit fails a morale check or penning test, roll immediately on the following table. Roll a 1, born to fight. If the unit is locked in combat, it is instead treated as if it had passed a morale check. If the unit is not locked in combat, it fails the morale check or penning test. Breaking heads. If the unit includes one or more all characters, it suffers d6 strength 4 hits, and it is then treated as if it had passed the morale check or penning test. If the hits are randomly allocated but cannot be allocated to the all character. If the unit does not include an all character, it fails its test. Squabble. If the unit has 10 or more models in it, it suffers d6 strength 4 hits, and it is treated as if it had passed the morale check or penning test. If the hits are randomly allocated. If the unit has fewer than 10 models, it fails the test. So basically you fail a test, then something bad happens, more of your guys die, and then you maybe pass the test? It's shithouse. Like, why not just keep the rule that if there's 10 or more in the unit, they're fearless? That is not overpowered. Why would you change that? I don't understand it. You just gave them a rule that is shitter than the previous one, and you're just making a new book even more shit. You're not increasing orc sales because you're making a book that's not an increase to what they already had. No one gives a shit. I mean, my opinion may be biased in the fact that I was actually looking forward to maybe a good orc codex instead of this pile of crap that they gave us. There's nothing good in there that makes... Like, it's the problem that I had with the old Tau codex, was that the only way to play Tau was by taking the certain units in that codex, and then you could maybe make a good Tau codex. There was no variety, and variety actually, makes the game fun. If you can viably make another version of it that can actually do well, but there's like one way to maybe make a good orc list, and it's to spam a few good units in there. Mech guns, get a stomper, and then a huge group of boys. And like that's about it. That's why I think it should be in the lowest tier. I think it should probably be at the top of that lowest tier, but I don't think it should go any higher than tier 4.
I reckon we look at it at 15.
15?
15.
Okay. Orcs looking in at 15. Okay. Any thoughts on what we can go at 14?
Um,
I'm thinking Militarum Tempestus.
Yeah.
They have
I
the
haven't really
Taurox.
heard much about them either, so
They have
obviously they're not the greatest guys
Yeah.
to play.
They have the Taurox, they have a Valkyrie, they have the regular squad, and they have an HQ squad. Oh, and they have a Commissar, and that's about it. Now, granted, this is probably an army that would make a great allied list, and they can do well, but there's just not enough variety and not enough models in there to make them a super strong, super cheesy kind of army. Granted, all their guys have like AP3 weapons, because they're hotshot las guns, but they're strength 3. So, you go up against anything like a Space Marine, yeah, you're going to go through his armor save, but you need 5s to hurt him.
Yeah.
Now, there is some really good commands that the HQ unit can do, like they can make the... I've played them against Tyranids, and there's a command that they can do that makes a unit's weapon sniper and pinning. So you just turn a gun into... So it needs 4s to wound, no matter what, because it has the sniper rule, but it's AP3. So if you're going up a monstrous creature, you're now hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, AP3. So you're taking down Tyranid monstrous creatures like crazy. So it's like, there is some really strong units in the list. But again, there's just not enough content in there to stand on its own 2 feet as its own army. I just don't think it can be done. And yeah, anything you want to say on them before we lock them in at 14?
Not really. They're just like...
It's a Stormtrooper army.
Yeah, better Imperial Guard. Yeah, Stormtrooper.
Well, better Imperial Guard soldiers, not a better Imperial Guard book, obviously. Because Imperial Guard is still on the board. So here we are. So we were...
I think we're going to have to change Harlequins.
Why?
Put them in. It's
a supplement book.
It's not.
Yes, it is. It's Codex Elder Harlequins. That's what it says on the book. Codex Elder Harlequins. It's a supplement. They don't even have an HQ choice.
Well, if
They're
you look at
all
the
elite
Black
choices.
Legion, supplement, it says Black Legion, a Codex Chaos Space Marine supplement, and then description. This supplement to Codex Chaos Space Marines allows you to turn your Citadel miniatures collection into a mighty host of Black Legion. If you go to the Codex one, it literally is just Codex Elder Harlequins. In the description, there doesn't say. It says this 96-page full-color hardback codex contains. Nowhere does it say it's a supplement for the Elder.
I could agree to an extent. I don't think...
Yeah, I don't think it should be a codex, but...
We're not putting it in, though.
Alright.
Do you know anything about the Codex?
No, I just read it.
I don't know. It just came out like a week ago.
Yeah. Maybe it's a new army, maybe it's not. Who knows?
It can be a standalone army. So I give it that in the sense that it can be a standalone army. So I guess it's kind of like Codex Inquisition, um, and yeah, like Codex Inquisition basically. It can be a standalone, but you can't run it as a combined arms detachment. You'd have to take whatever detachment that they're in there because there's no HQ choice in there. I'm pretty sure the whole thing is just elite choices.
Yeah.
But we don't know enough about it, so I don't really want to bother with dealing with them. I have heard good things about them, but I'm pretty sure in both opinions that it's gonna come down to that they have a lot of good things, but there's just not enough models in there to make a good standalone army.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to end up in the lower tier anyway. I need to make a phone call, so I will pause this, and then we will carry on, and we'll do a recap on Tier 4, and then we'll move on to Tier 3. Okay, so let's recap. We just finished Tier 4. We have, in the last position, 18 is Inquisition. Basically came down to not enough models in there, great for allies, but doesn't stand up on its own. Sister Battle at 17. They just need to update the models themselves. Some good special rules, but not enough in there. Imperial Knights, same thing basically. Great rules, great models, just not enough in there to stand on its own. 15, we have Orcs. Doesn't make the jump to 7th edition very well. Feels like an old codex still, not enough updated. And 14, Militarum Tempestus. Again, great stuff in there, but not enough to stand on its own. And then somewhere in there, we're probably also going to put Codex Harlequins. Granted, we haven't looked into that codex, but it kind of looks the same. Where, yeah, they got some cool units, but probably can't stand on its own. So next up, we're going into Tier 3, which is 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, so 5 more slots. 5 more slots, 13 more armies. So these are the ones that are probably going to be armies that can stand on their own, can probably do well, but just they're not, you're not going to see them probably winning too many tournaments. So what are some ones that you want to put down in Tier 3?
4.
Tier 3.
Tier 4.
We just did Tier 4.
Wasn't that Tier 5?
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tier 2. Tier 3 is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Sorry, I just shut up.
in the break. The ones that come. Oh, go ahead.
Dark Elder.
Yeah, I can see Dark Elder.
Because they had a really strong codex, and now you don't.
And then
really
6th
see or
edition
hear
happened.
much about them.
6th edition happened. Overwatch.
Yeah.
It fucks them.
Yeah.
Which
sure.
is a great. But you don't have a fucking save and you get destroyed in Overwatch.
Yeah.
And a couple other ones I was kind of thinking would be like Chaos Demons and possibly even Tyranids.
Yeah.
Granted, I see a lot of Tyranids, but that's because Tyranids are awesome. Chaos Demons, you see a lot of Chaos Demons, but
Mostly allied, I find.
yeah, and they're difficult to play.
Yeah,
some other ones. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say they are not a very easy army. They're not a beginner's army.
Yeah. So I would definitely probably say, yeah, those 3 could probably go 11, 12, and 13, actually.
I kind of want to say Grey Knights, just because they got nerfed a little bit. They're not that bad, though, that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But, once again, there's, no new models. They got less models. They took out some characters, didn't they?
They may have. I didn't really pay attention to the characters before. I would say,
But they'd be high, or even bottom of
yeah,
10.
low tier 2, top tier 3. I would say. Let's go. So 13, I would definitely put in Dark Elder at 13. I know a lot of people probably won't like that because people that do like Dark Elder really like Dark Elder, but a lot of their units are completely useless because of how the rules work now. Witches used to be amazing; they got an invulnerable save in close combat, but it doesn't happen in Overwatch. So you charge in, there's a flamer in there. Opponent rolls a couple sixes. You could be 3 to 5 models down before you get your charge off.
Yeah, the whole thing about Dark Elder was fast moving, fast assault.
Yeah.
And you had to try and gun them down before then.
I still think the army can do very well, but it's very difficult to play, and when you're looking at the way that we're tearing this is not necessarily the best tears for tournaments. We're trying to take in consideration how easy it is for new players as well as
playability.
Yeah, so for new players as well as tournament players. Now a tournament player could probably make a cheesy as shit Dark Elder army and win a tournament. But a new player is going to struggle with Dark Elder. Absolutely struggle with Dark Elder. So I definitely would put them down in tier 3. So Dark Elder would be there. It's difficult to play. 12th spot. I want to go Chaos Demons, honestly, because I feel like Tyranids are better than Chaos Demons.
Yeah.
Granted, Chaos Demons do have some units that are just insane. I forgot what one of them was. It's like I think it's the one where you put like a bunch of Screamers and a Herald on a disc or something like that, and then you have them like the Grimoire. No. What's the? Yeah, it's like there's like some unit in the Chaos Demons coda, so let you like re-roll your invulnerable save or something. What I'm basically trying to say is that they do have a couple of really strong like kind of Death Star units, but it's a horde list without the horde mentality to it.
Yeah.
Because you never thought of Chaos Demons as being a horde army, but this new codex, they really are. You cannot survive on a 5-up invulnerable. Yeah, everyone in your army has an invulnerable, but it's a 5-up fucking vulnerable. So you might as well have a 5-up save. I mean, to an extent. You are getting a save from everything, but it's a 5-up save. And you may think, yeah, it's a 1/3 chance. Give me a break. It doesn't feel that way when you're rolling those fucking dice. I'll give you 5 dice and roll a 5-up save for me, and then tell me, oh, it's 1 in 3 chance of surviving.
Yeah, Lady Average just doesn't really like it though.
No, it's a horde army without the horde mentality, so people don't go into it with getting huge squads of demons and stuff.
I know it seems to work. They make it so you can play all the different chaos gods, but you really need to. I don't know. I think it works better picking 1, maybe 2.
It works. The absolute best way I think it works is if you cherry pick the best units from each one. But that's not how people are gonna want to play them.
No.
Like each god has like a really great unit. So if you cherry pick, like you're sweet. Like you're gonna pick the best ones from each thing. But that's not how people play them, and that's not how you want to play them.
I don't think you can even play, or you can play it like that, but there's penalties to that. They're like the.
Not that I was aware, but
they're
there's the Warp Storm table, which kind of screws you as well. You have an active ability in your army that you could roll and kill your own guys in each of your turn.
Yeah.
Not to mention, they are fearless, but demonic instability fucks you over hardcore. You get into combat, you lose combat, and then you roll your leadership test and basically remove more guys.
Yeah.
So, it's a difficult army to play. It's fun. It's a fun army. It looks cool. But I would definitely put it down there in the lower tier. I have seen these armies win tournaments, but in my opinion, it doesn't belong anywhere higher than tier 3. So we'll lock that in.
That Nids next.
I would say Nids. I hate to say it because I really would like to see Tyranids be a little bit higher because I know they can do well, but they just suffer the same penalties as anyone on this list. So they are very difficult to play, and to play them well, you really do need to be able to play well. You need to understand the game. You need to understand your army, and to get anywhere in a tournament, you have to be taking specific units. You have to be taking specific units, the Death Star units, the really killy ones. You're not going to see anyone win a tournament with anything less than 2 Flying Hive Tyrants with Twin Link Devourers. The new Codex, granted, is amazing. It's definitely better than it's better than their other codex by far. The 5th edition codex, I think it is. Like, this one is just great. There's a lot of fun stuff in there, a lot of good stuff, and Tyranids have great support from Games Workshop, which is surprising. They're always getting new monstrous creatures and new shit. But I don't think they're gonna get anywhere higher than Tier 2 on our list. You might see it on someone else's list, but for us, Tyranids are going into that spot. Now, I really thought that Tier 2 was probably pretty much just going to be the Space Marine tier. Like, anything underneath the top 3 would be the Space Marine tier. But we could probably start looking at putting some Space Marine armies into Tier 3.
I was about to say Blood Angels.
Blood Angels? Yeah.
Because they've lost, like, I know now that, like, you can do, like, whatever army you want with the Unbound. But half of the point of the Blood Angels Codex was to give you, like, the Assault Marines as troop. The thing, like, it loses. If you take that out, it just becomes the Space Marine Codex.
With less stuff than the Space Marine.
Yeah. Like, you get Death Company guys and a Death Company Dread. But other than that, you don't really gain anything more from Blood Angels.
I propose this. For 10 and 9, we got Blood Angels at 10, Dark Angels at 9.
Yeah.
Dark Angels are the same type of thing. They have their Space Marine army, they have their little gimmicks, they have some stuff there. But I don't think Blood Angels or Blood Angels or Dark Angels, I don't think that they should outrank the Grey Knights. I honestly don't. I think Grey Knights are going to be after them. Yeah. But I don't think that those two outrank them. I also don't think that they do any better than any other Space Marine chapter. So
yeah, they're less than what they were now.
Dark Angels definitely better than Blood Angels, because they do have the ability to take Bikers as troop. They have the ability to take Terminators as troop, and they have the ability to take them both as troop at the same time, which is very strong. But they are missing a couple things in the Space Marine Codex that actually give vanilla Space Marines that kind of heads up above them. So yeah, I'm gonna lock in at 10 Blood Angels. I think that's fair.
Yep.
Again, like at this point though in the list, we're reaching into the top 10. So Blood Angels are still decent. That's still a good army, and you can still do well with them. So I mean, and that's like the whole list is you can still do well with any army really. But we're just and then Dark Angels at tier 9. Okay, so that's another tier done. So recap on tier 3. Dark Elder, an awesome codex, very difficult to play and kind of get a little bit screwed by the new rules. Chaos Demons, again, very difficult to play. They kind of screw themselves over. And Tyranids, the edge up on Chaos Demons, difficult to play. They don't screw themselves over so much, but they are difficult to play. Then we have our first 2 Space Marine chapters on the list. Blood Angels at 10, Dark Angels at 9. Unique and fun and good in their own ways, but they definitely can't outrank anything that we have left. So this is tier 2. This is the tier underneath, the 5 armies underneath the top 3. So the ones that just don't make the cut. So we'll start at 8.
Grey Knights?
Yeah, I would say Grey Knights. I like Grey Knights, and they can be super powerful, but because they're low model count, they are very hard to play. that they're probably even harder to play than Dark Angels and Blood Angels. In fact, they are harder to play than Dark Angels and Blood Angels. But the power that they have, they're a bit stronger, and the power they have kind of gives them that edge up. So yeah, we'll go Grey Knights at 8. At 7, I want to go. At 7, I want to go.
Space Wolf?
I want to go either Space Wolves, Space Marines, or Astra Militarum, or even Chaos Space Marines. Honestly, in fact, I wouldn't put Chaos Space Marines above regular Space Marines.
I don't know. They're hard to judge because both their codexes, I reckon, are done really well.
Yeah. The Chaos Space Marines one, though, is getting a little bit older at this point, and it does have a few rules that kind of screw itself over, like the ones where you have to challenge. Like, that kind of fucks you up sometimes.
Yeah.
The Helldrake is amazing, but it did get nerfed, where it can only fire from its front arc now, can't shoot fire out of its butt, and that can hurt it, because a lot of the times you'll zoom, you'll have enough to shoot one squad, and then depending on who you're versing, they've probably gotten up so fast now that you're going to be flying off the board next turn.
The thing that gets me with the Chaos Codex as well, though, is their name characters are all like really well done. For like their rules and stuff.
Yeah. Not that they're really well done, but I don't think they're really at a competitive nature. Like I don't think you'd really take them, because you really don't see them come up in any tournament lists or anything. Abaddon maybe, but even then, like, usually tournament lists you're running the cheaper side of things for HQ choices. I would say.
How about 7 is Astra Militarum, 6 Space Wolves, 5 Chaos Marines, and 4 Space
Marines. So I don't know if Astra Militarum would be worse than some of the Space Marine ones, though. Like, cause there's a lot of deadly firepower in that list, and they got a lot of decent stuff. It's tough. I would say.
Because Space Wolves, they're still pretty strong.
Space Wolves, Space Wolves are really strong. I would. This is the hardest part for me, is these 4 in the 4, 5, 6, and 7. Honestly, I would go. I would go Chaos Space Marines, Space Wolves, Astra Militarum, Space Marines. That's how I would do it.
You reckon?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just. I like Chaos in the sense that it is a really good codex. But there's just. In my opinion, the best troop choice in the book is cultists. You just get a whole bunch of cultists, which kind of screws over everything else. Like, the marked units are like really cool, but Berserkers way too expensive.
Berserkers aren't even the best in close combat anymore.
Yeah, the Sound Marines, the Noise Marines, again, kind of too expensive. The Zinch guys, Thousand Suns, they're just too expensive for what they do. Like, yeah, you can get them to be troops. See, the only good one that I see on there are the Plague Marines, because like they're so fucking tough to kill, and you're gonna have difficulty assaulting them because they have defensive grenades. So they're gonna do all right in assault because they're just gonna stand around for so long. But the best troop choices is really just the regular old Chaos Space Marine squads. But really, the cultists are the best.
You do have Chosen as well, though. If you take that.
Yeah, but
you're looking at like 1,500, 2,000 point game to fit that kind of shit in.
Yeah, I really think Chaos Space Marines at 7. I know that you're not gonna want to put him at 7, but I don't know if I would see them being any higher than that. I mean, a year ago, 2 years ago, I would probably have them almost in the top three just because of Helldrakes alone at that time. But I really think at this point, in coming into 7th edition, with everyone having basically a new update now, that they're kind of, showing some. What about? I'll give you this. We'll put Chaos Space Marines at 6 and Space Wolves at 7 as a compromise. How about that?
It's not even that. I'm more thinking like the Imperial Guard. Like, I don't know. I've never just.
Guard are awesome though.
I know, but I've never pitched them as like a tournament sort of army. And no.
I definitely can, because I've played a fair bit of Imperial Guard, and like you can just shoot people before they even get to you, and like without giving too much away, 2 of our top armies are based around the amount of firepower they can put out, and the Imperial Guard can do the exact same. They just lack certain things that the higher ones have. I mean, have you seen like the new Wyvern one? It does 4 small blast templates, barrage. It's like strength 7, I want to say, shred. So you're re-rolling to wounds. It's like dirt cheap for I think it's less than 150 points. You can get 3 of them. You can fire 12 of these shots a turn, and you're getting shred. So you're re-rolling to wounds, and it's barrage. So you put 1 down, and then you don't scatter after putting 1 down, so you just put them all around there. You can wipe out 10 Space Marines, giving them their armor saves, but you're putting out so much fire that they just eventually start failing their saves.
Yeah. We'll go with the original one that you said, where Chaos 7, Space Wolves 6, Militarum 5, and Space Marines 4.
I would be willing to put Space Wolves at 7 though, and put Chaos 1 up from that, purely because the Chaos Space Marine Codex does have a lot of variety, and you can make a lot more lists than the Space Wolves can.
Okay. Alright, we'll go that way.
Okay, because I do think the Space Wolves definitely have a very strong Codex. The thing that holds Space Wolves back is it's not 5th edition anymore. Space Wolves like rocked and just devastated 5th edition when their Codex came out, but it's not 5th edition anymore. They still have the new fly they have, amazing. In my opinion, it's the best flyer right now. And like some of their other stuff is great, but the Chaos Space Marines variety would make me give them the edge. So Space Wolves at 7. Oop. Space Wolves at 7, Chaos Space Marines at 6.
So pretty much just to recap what you're doing there. There's only only Grey Knights left in the tier at A. And then
Astra Militarum at 5.
Space Marines
And Space Marines at 4. So yeah, Grey Knights, great power. The Space Marines, so they can take a few mistakes, but their low model count, you can get screwed up if you make too many mistakes. Space Wolves, great Codex. Space Marines, stronger than the other 2 kind of sub-chapter codexes. Chaos Space Marines, a lot better in 6th edition before everyone else got their codexes, but don't hold up as much now. Astra Militarum, great firepower. I really can't say too much bad about them, but they do have certain weaknesses. They're kind of slow, which kind of holds back their firepower. Space Marines at number 4. I mean, it is the Codex. I mean, the Space Marines are always going to be way up there because you get so much good stuff, so much powerful stuff. It's so easy to play them. They're very forgiving. You can make mistakes and still manage to get a win. And there's just so much variety. So much variety. The chapter tactics makes just every army unique. It's just up there. That's tier 2. So we're in the last tier right now. This is spot 1, 2, and 3. We have Eldar, Necrons, and Tau left. Tier 3, I already know which one I want to throw there.
Spot 3.
Yeah, spot 3, sorry. Would it be Eldar?
Yeah. Eldar, you reckon?
Yep.
Alright.
The reason why I say that is because their big dude is not as good as a Riptide. More wounds, higher toughness, but no invulnerable save. Unless you take the shield thing. A lot of his upgrades are kind of pointless to what he just starts with.
Yeah.
They have some really good rules, but they're really finicky, so they're not as easy to play as just putting down your guys and then rolling dice to shoot. Their range is a little bit less than Tau, so you do have to kind of get the hang of moving your units. They're reliant on their psychic powers as well, and which makes them a little bit harder to play because you have to worry about a psychic phase. Their vehicles are good. They have a lot of speed, which is really good, but it also makes them a little bit more confusing to play. And a lot of their good stuff comes with the synergy that they have with each other and remembering combos and stuff. And just that more difficulty to play and to get into them is what I would rank them under Tau.
What about Necrons, though? Do they have... they don't have a big walker creature thing, do they?
They can have a super heavy in their list now. They have that obelisk.
Oh, that's right. And
then
take dude out too. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they can have that one. I don't think that's in their actual codex. But like you can for Apocalypse and all that. But they can bring the obelisk, which is like the closed version of it, which is insane. I honestly I would say Necrons would definitely be the top for me. They have a detachment, which I know that you probably don't have your head fully wrapped around detachments and formations yet. They have a detachment that is made up of formations. So you have this detachment and you're adding formation, so you're getting special rules for your detachment, special rules for your formation. One of them is they get a 4-up reanimation protocol. So if someone dies, it's a 50% chance that it's going to stand back up. 50% chance, and it's better than feel no pain because you're always going to get it. The only negative is if you get instant death or something, it's -1, so it goes, instead of a 4-up, it's 5-up. But basically everything in the list more or less has the ability to get back up 50% of the time. It's insane. Their firepower, their regular guns wound anything on a 6, so even things that have insane toughness or anything, it's a 6 to wound no matter what. All their standard guns glance vehicles on a 6. So their basic troop can hurt anything, and they can also destroy any vehicle, basically.
That's right, they got a new codex.
Yeah. It's insane. They are the only codex that I have seen moved to 7th edition that hasn't been nerfed. In fact, some of their stuff has gotten better. What I can only assume is because they weren't selling them, like Tomb Blades. No one ran Tomb Blades, but now they're better.
That's what happened with the last edition of the Codex as well. No one was playing Necrons, so they fucking beefed it out. Then everyone was playing Necrons.
Well, the last edition was different in the sense that they actually added a lot, and they were making new models. This one, they've just changed the rules to sell more models that they haven't normally been selling. It has the firepower of the other armies. It has some close combat abilities in the Wraiths. The ability just to get back up is insane. There's some guns that the Wraiths can take that are instant death weapons. I would put Necrons way up the top, in my opinion, just purely on the fact that they have the firepower of the other armies, but they can get back up on a 4-up if you make the right formation. And
I'd go Eldar, Tau, and then Necrons.
Tau are great, and they've held up a lot, purely because their firepower is insane. Riptides ignore covers, low AP weapons just everywhere across the table. We may be a little bit out of sorts when it comes to 7th edition, but I think Tau is still way up there.
Yeah.
So let's put that down. Elder 3. Tau 2. And the Necrons take the number 1 slot. So, recap on the whole list. The Tier 1, our top 3 armies are Necrons, Tau, Eldar. Tier 2, we've got Space Marines, Astra Militarum, Chaos Space Marines, Space Wolves, and Grey Knights. Tier 3, Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Tyranids, Chaos Demons, Dark Eldar. And the lowest tier, Militarum, Tempestus, Orcs, Imperial Knights, Adeptus, Soriatis, Sisters of Battle, and Inquisition coming in at the end. Oh, as well as Codex Harlequins be somewhere down in the lower tier. Anything you want to say before we move on to our Shamehammer part for today?
The Hulk agrees.
That's good. Thank you, Hulk. So yeah, let us know what you think. If we're wrong, if we're right, comment whatever, and maybe we'll talk about it in a coming episode and defend ourselves a little bit more. But that's our list. So moving on to Shame Hammer, a segment in Rage Hammer where we bring up the shameful parts in the hobby. And Savage, you found this one this week?
I did. So I was searching for, as I said earlier, I was doing like Night Lord's successor chapter, and I was just looking for like alternate paint schemes and stuff. I stumbled across a forum about a guy pretty much just bitching and complaining that Night Lords, Word Bearers, and Iron Warriors don't have their own specific rules as much as like some of the other armies.
Yeah, like chapter tactics for Space Marines, as well as supplements for other armies as well.
Yeah. So I'll just read out his paragraph that he posted in the forum, and we can pretty much run from there. So starts off, so I want to do either a Word Bearer's army or a Night Lord's army, and was talking to a friend about it. His question, why? What's the benefits? Truth, there is none. In fact, if you want to remain true to the fluff, you're actually disadvantaging yourself, as you should not be taking any marks, thus limiting yourself. That kind of frustrates me. Someone looks at your army, wow, those are cool. What army is that? Night Lords. Cool, what's the difference between those guys over there? Those are Word Bearers. Nothing. My guys are painted blue, his are red. Oh, that's odd. What about those guys? Those are loyal Space Marines. They have about 10 different codexes. Even second founding chapters like Black Templars get their own codex, which is completely incorrect. And this is posted in 2012 though, but I'm pretty sure even back then they still did not have their...
2012 they did.
They did?
Yeah, it was 2013 when they got merged in.
Yeah, so Black Templars have their own codex. Oh, that doesn't seem fair, huh? I mean, couldn't they just do something like, may take a Night Lord's army. If you do, you're not allowed to take any marks of any kind, except on your Demon Prince. All your units gain Acute Sense special rule. D3 of your troop choices can infiltrate, and you can choose, and your chosen can choose jump packs for 5 points per model. If they do, they cause fear. They're done. Night Lords, not overpowered, and a reason to paint your toy soldiers blue.
That's the post?
That's his first paragraph. So, this is a little bit older than, like, this would have still been in 6th edition, I think.
No, that would be in 7th edition. No, yeah, 6th edition, sorry. Yeah. Yeah,
30th of October. That's so he comes... I think I've questioned this in the past a little bit, but
I think,
why would you limit yourself?
well, like the point that the topic that we're kind of discussing here is that the people that whine that they don't have a supplement for their specific army, or the fact that there's no special rules for this chapter or that thing. Why? And the big thing that kind of gets us is like, why would you say like I need a reason to paint my guys Night Lords colors? If you like Night Lords, you paint them Night Lords colors. You don't. Why should you have a reason?
I don't think I've ever painted an army. Oh, that's a lie. I have, but like majority of the armies I play, I don't paint the whatever fucking color schemes plastered on the front of the codex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that post is a little bit older, so like back in 6th edition, you didn't have as much options as you do now, but you could still just take a bunch of raptors. Like if you want to run a Night Lords chapter, well, I should say Legion or Warband or whatever, then if you want it to be different, you oppose the limitations to yourself. In the sense of, if you don't feel like they should take marks, which again is the same that we talked about as well, which is totally incorrect. If you don't want to take marks, then don't take marks. It's simple. You shouldn't have to have a rule in the book that says you can't do it. Just take
sorry. Just while we're on this point, is the first reply to this thread on the forum is kind of like running Ultramarines, Salamanders, Emperor's Blades, Crimson Fists, etc. versus Blood Angels, Space Wolves, or Grey Knights? Or is everyone so spoiled now that they only want to run a list that gives them a ton of benefits? Does every chapter and legion need its own special rules?
Absolutely not. Just take... I mean, this is back in 6th edition. What you could have done is just take, Raptors, and then, take a small... take to fill your 2 troop choices, some cultists or some space marines, and then just max out on raptors. Done. Not going to be the best thing, but you have a fluffy, Night Lords army, if that's what you want to do.
Or do what anyone that wasn't a fucking idiot did, and take fucking Blood Angels.
Yeah.
And paint them as Night Lords.
Now, granted, things have changed since then, and now we do have, 7th edition, and you can go unbound, so basically you could just take nothing but raptors now. Like, that is your Night Lord's army. If that's the way that you think that they should run, they should all have jump packs and whatever with no marks, and go for it. The point, like, the point that's kind of there is, like, these chapters, these legions, these warbands or whatever, they impose these limitations on themselves. Like, that's their tactics. They don't bring, X unit, because that's just not their tactic. That's not what they do. So if you're trying to play them, then just don't do that. Oppose that limitation on yourself, or not. Who gives a crap? Like, that's your reason for painting them blue, is because you like Night Lords. If you like Night Lords, then paint Night Lords. It's that you don't have to have a special rule to telling you, like, oh, I want to do Night Lords. Do I get a special rule? Oh, I don't? Oh, fuck it, then what's the point?
Well, with that, yeah, you shouldn't have to be coaxed into painting your army a certain way. You should paint it whatever way you want. Doesn't matter whether you get special rules or not.
Mm-hmm. Find special rules that you have access to help with that. Like, if you have to put down the chaos, the chaos codex, and pick up the Space Marine codex, and take a chapter tactic that fits Night Lords, then do that. Forge World has a whole bunch of chapter tactics for some of their ones. Use those rules and make a Space Marine chapter, but paint them Night Lords. If you don't think they should have marks of chaos and all that, then what's the point of using the Chaos Codex? What are you going to use from there that's going to be, in your opinion, fluffy as a Night Lord? I mean, I don't know a whole bunch of Night Lord stuff, but it sounds like the person thinks they just use a bunch of raptors and that's about it. I mean, so what's the point of even using the Chaos Codex?
I thought it's more about terror tactics too than anything. Like you could even like, take like scouts or something from Space Marines Codex and use them
Yeah.
to infiltrate it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they still use just regular old Marines with rhinos as well.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to just have jump packs. And it goes for anything. Like, you shouldn't need a special rule to paint an army. And there's just so much options out there, especially with 7th edition now. There's so many special rules, you can make something work. You can make something work. For instance, I'm starting a small army of executioners. No, not exorcists. I always get those two around the wrong way. Exorcists, which are basically the demon hunting Space Marine chapter that get possessed by demons, and then exorcised, I guess, too, and that's like their rite of passage into the chapter. So like that sounds really cool. Well, where are their special rules? They don't really have any. And Forge World did come out with some rules basically for their chapters and for chapters that they've used in like the Dab War and stuff like that. But for the Exorcists, their one was just use another chapter tactics. Like they didn't even like when Forge World came out with special rules, they just got completely like looked over. And I was like, well, that kind of sucks. But I didn't just go, well, I'm not going to use them then. I'll go Red Hunters, because Red Hunters did actually get some special rules. I was like, no, I still want to do Exorcist, so, well, let's make this work. So, the Cruchidons, or whatever, the Space Sharks, or whatever that word is called, they got some special rules by Forge World. So, like, that sounds, like it could work. Basically, they get the chapter tactics, they get to replace their bolt guns with close combat weapons. They get the fair special rule, which I think makes sense, because, I mean, it's a pretty fucking scary Space Marine chapter if you know that they're being possessed by demons and stuff. And then the next one is that when they wipe out a unit in close combat, they get the Rage special rule. And that's kind of the whole point in the being possessed by demons, was to increase their power and stuff in combat. So it's kind of like after they've been fighting for a little while, they get angry, they get more powerful. So I was like, that works for me. It satisfies my need for a special role. Let's do it. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. You're not gonna have, it's just not possible for Games Workshop to have special rules for every chapter.
Yeah.
Every legion. Anything. Granted, I think Chaos Space Marines should have some sort of chapter tactics kind of rule, like the Space Marines. I think they could have put something in there that was just like a paragraph saying, you can take this rule for Iron Warriors or whatever. I think that could have been a thing. And in the same sense, though, it doesn't quite work for Chaos Space Marines as it works for regular Space Marines. Regular Space Marines still are in their chapters. Chaos Space Marines really don't have legions anymore. Like, they don't really... Night Lords are not necessarily a thing anymore. Like, they're still around, and there'll still be warbounds of them, but they're not really... They're not really a chapter, they're not a legion. Like, there's... it's like... The supplement that Chaos got was Black Legion, because that's really the biggest thing that Chaos has. The rest are just small warbands and stuff.
They got a Crimson Slaughter one now, which I don't know what I think about that yet.
I haven't read that one.
That's for another time.
But I mean, I think it's fine the way it is, and you can do enough stuff in 7th edition now that people really shouldn't be complaining that, I want special rules.
Yeah, I would not want to see... Like, I was already agitated when they did a Black Legion one. Like a supplement thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Codex gives you pretty much whatever you need.
The only thing that it's good now for supplements is, and again, you're probably not going to understand it as much because you just haven't wrapped your head around like 7th edition quite yet. It's formations and detachments are huge. That's how you make your armies. You pick a detachment, You pick formations and you build your units. You build your lists around formations and detachments. That's where things should come from. You have a Night Lord's formation, have a Night Lord's detachment. There's no need for like supplement books or anything anymore. Just formation books, detachment books. That's where the stuff is coming from. And
That's what they should really do.
Well, that's basically how the Black Legion one is, in a sense, was that it basically just gave you... It did give you special rules and things like that, but the heart of the supplements now is basically just the detachments, like how Space Wolves have the Champions of Fenris supplement. It's basically just more formations, like I think it's like Void Claws or whatever, and it's still the regular old Terminators with Lightning Claws or Wolf Claws, but it gives you special rules for taking them as the formation. That's what we need. It's just formations and detachments. That's where you get your rules.
They could really do for at least Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines is do a formation and detachment like supplement book. It has like a few for each legion or chapter in there. Like, I mean, because honestly now you don't really need the Blood Angels Codex anymore because it doesn't really do anything better than what the Space Marine one can. Dark Angels, I mean, if they put that into the Space Marines Codex, it'd probably still work. The only one that I couldn't see going into the Space Marines Codex right now is Space Wolves, because they don't follow the chapter Astartes.
I disagree there purely in the sense of there's no reason to get rid of stuff that already has things. Like this, we don't want to we want more stuff. Like, in my opinion, more stuff is always good. If Games Workshop can release 100 supplements tomorrow, and it's not going to bother me, because if I don't want to buy them, I won't buy them. If one of those 100 supplements is something that I'll have interest in, then I'll buy it straight away because I want to use it. More stuff is more stuff, and that's great, but not everyone needs special rules, basically, is the point we're getting to. But yeah, formation book would be great. Like, if you have like a Night Lord's formation, it's called, Night Lord's Raptor formation or whatever. And it basically says, like, you have to take, 2 squads of Raptors. If you do that, then you gain the fair special rule on your Raptors. You gain fair special rule, and they can roll for reserves on turn 1. And then you add that to your Chaos Marine, and now you have a little detachment of, or you have a formation of Night Lords.
Fear wasn't even the greatest special rule, I don't think.
Fear is shit, but it works fluff-wise.
Yeah.
But that's why I went back and added they can roll for reserves on turn 1. Because, I mean, that's a cool rule.
Yeah, or something like their standard Marines can fucking infiltrate or something like that.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, from not like an army-wide, like, set of rules for your army, but just, like, formations that you can add to your Chaos Space Marine army.
Yeah. So,
like, you can paint up everything in Night Lords, but those Raptors are their own formation. They have this special rule. Or it's just... It doesn't even need to be a thing. You don't need it to paint Night Lords. You don't need it to paint Word Bearers or whatever. Just paint what you want. Find rules that work for you, and you can basically do anything now in 7th edition. There's basically no limitations at all. So, find rules that work and do it. Don't whine that you don't have a codex. Don't whine when a new Space Marine thing comes out. Because at the end of the day, if you want to keep playing this game and you want new models and stuff to come out, Games Workshop has to release these stuff that they know are going to make money. Because that's where they get the money that they can spend on more riskier stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, they need to make money, so they're going to release the Space Marine stuff. And then that gives them the opportunity to then do the riskier things, like the Harlequin Codex and stuff like that. Like, I guarantee you, Harlequins wouldn't have gotten the Codex if they hadn't have released 3 Space Marine supplements to get the money to do the riskier stuff. It's really as simple as that. Anything more you want to say on that before we go on to the last story of the day?
No, I think we're pretty good.
Okay, so last story of the day. is the story that we kind of brought up last week about how I allegedly made some kid pee themselves. And this
I don't
story,
think it was allegedly.
yeah, it is.
It actually happened.
No, it happened. I didn't do it. Basically, we've told the story before, but I was part of a tournament at a Games Workshop. Not necessarily like a tournament day, but it was like I guess more like a league. And I was going in to play a couple of games for the league and get my points for the day. So I went in and, looking for opponents as some kid comes in with his dad. A young kid.
And Kieran sees this kid. He's like, "That's easy pickings."
Easy fucking prey right there. No, but he comes in, he's looking for a game, I'm looking for a game, so I'm like, I'll play. The manager at the Games Workshop's like, well, he's new, so, just go easy on him. And I was like, okay.
You're like, fuck to the no on that one, sir.
At the time, I was playing Space Wolf Terminators. So it was basically Grimnar with Terminators and drop pods, because Space Wolf Terminators could take drop pods at that time. They might still be able to do that, I don't remember. So yeah. First of all, I just want to point out that the kid was cheating, because this was back in 5th edition, where you had to have 1 HQ, 2 troops. He had 1 HQ, a baton, and then 1 troop, and the rest was like obliterators and raptors. So, just throwing it out there. The kid wasn't
just
playing
to make
fair.
you feel less guilty.
So I was like, okay, and I did play. I didn't play as hard as I would. Basically, the list was, you had the Wolf Guards with the Thunderhammer Storm Shields with Logan, then 2 other drop pods, it was like 1,000 points, then 2 other drop pods, one was like a 3-man squad with combi melters, one was like a 5-man squad with combi plasmas. So one would drop down with the plasmas and just obliterate a unit from the game, and one would come down, blow up a tank, and the other one would get ready to combat. Well, I dropped all my drop pods about midway. I didn't go into his deployment, I didn't deploy right next to him. I was like, I'll give him a chance to come at me, and I'll just drop down and take positions and whatnot. So I did that. It was like turn 2, where I noticed something. As this kid's taking his turn, this is, like you said in the last episode, it was a stream of piss coming out of his pants. Like, it wasn't like a wet patch just appeared in at his crotch. It was streaming out of his pants.
He was going strong.
Now, at this Games Workshop, the way they had their tables set up is that the tables were actually where they also kept their stock. So they're like solid kind of squares where, the game board's on top, but you can't like slide and put like, stuff under. It's not a table. There's like drawers and stuff. And it's just going over the stock drawers and on the ground, and luckily that Games Workshop had like a rubbery kind of floor, like that kind of hard floor, but kind of rubbery. And the kid just pisses himself, and his dad doesn't notice yet, and the kid's still fucking playing, moving his guys and trying to hide it, and it's like, holy shit! I was like, I look away, I don't want to bring it up. I just act like I didn't know. It'll sort itself out. And eventually the kid decides, well, I guess this has gone too far, I can't hide this, and goes over and whispers to his dad, and his dad's like, he's had a bit of an accident, so I guess we can't finish this game. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's good. And he's like apologizing to me, and I'm like, don't worry. The guy at Games Workshop's like, no problem, I just walk in, fucking laser tag, I'm used to cleaning up piss, and just gets a fucking mop and, bucket of water and just starts like cleaning that shit up. And, it really wasn't that bad at the end of the day. It got cleaned up, no problem. The kid left, and the game was forfeit. I didn't get any points, and actually ended up not coming anywhere in that league because I didn't get enough points because the kid pissed himself. Now, my point of the story is that, and granted, no one else that has any opinion on this wasn't even fucking there that day. He just pissed himself. Like, I wasn't even playing that bad. It's not like he was so fucking terrified.
I wasn't even playing that bad with my all Terminator Space Wolf list.
It could have been worse though, couldn't it? I could have dropped him right next to a Abaddon and put 5 plasma guns into a Abaddon squad. And that would have wiped a Abaddon squad out turn 1. No, instead I go halfway down the field and wait for him to come to me. I probably would have
Sure,
fucking.
that's what happened though.
It is what happened. I probably would have fucking lost. That Terminator army was difficult to play. Space Wolf Terminators don't have shit on Grey Knights and Dark Angels. They're way too expensive. I had 13 guys in a 1,000-point list.
I want the truth, Kieran.
That's the truth.
You meant to say you can't handle the truth.
That is the truth. And obviously you can't handle it because you don't believe it. Everyone else's opinion is that I was playing so ruthlessly that the kid pissed himself out of fear of losing. He had a Baden. I had Logan Grimm now. We all know how that works. Doesn't work out for Logan.
If they know what they're doing with the Baden.
Well, if they don't get plasma to death turn 1, which I could have done. In fact, him pissing himself probably spared me losing.
Sure, that's how the story went.
It is. It is. And how do you think it went?
I don't want to spoil it for the audience.
What, I drop pod down my plasma squad turn 1, take out a Baden and his Terminators. The Melter squad comes down as well, takes out one of his tanks. Then turn 2, Logan comes down and gets ready to mop up the rest of the Raptors. And then I
Sounds like
then I whisper in his ear, "Having fun yet?"
it sounds like almost too surreal to make up on the spot there, Kieran.
Be too real to make up on the spot?
Yeah,
That's not how it happened.
it is.
No, it's not. I have
Everyone
witnesses.
knows now.
No.
Even the whispering in his ear part when his dad wasn't looking.
Just pick up and shake him. You're gonna die! I eat kids like you for breakfast!
Come on, piss your pants! Piss your fucking pants!
Just grab his arm. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
Why are you smashing your models, huh? Why are you smashing your models?
Why are you moving your models backwards? Scared? That's not what happened.
The dad comes over, you start doing it to the dad. Stop hitting your son! Stop hitting your son!
Dad actually pisses his pants?
The guy from Games Workshop comes over, like, why are you hitting the customer? Why are you hitting the customer?
He pisses his pants?
Just drop the mic and walk away.
No, but honestly, it was unfortunate. I feel sorry for the kid because it's I mean, in terms of kids in Games Workshop, we had our episode last week. I mean, he came with his dad, respectful, and now I hope that didn't kind of ruin his his experience in having that happen to him at a Games Workshop. So it's unfortunate. It's really funny as well, but that's a good story to tell years later. But yeah, so at this point in time, anything else you want to say before we head off and call this done?
Not really, I'm pretty hungry, so...
Anyway, once again, this has been Rage Hammer. With me has been Savage. And I'm Toxic. This has been Allies Index video. If you're watching this on Tumblr, please remember that we do have a YouTube, so go subscribe there. But once again, I'm Toxic. With me is Savage. And as always...
Hulk smash!
As always, have a good one.